South Africa suddenly are 12 for 2.
Hit the nail on the head there. Incredibly soft dismissal from Rickleton. He'll be incredibly disappointed, as any batter would, just loop in a cut ball straight to point. But very good from New Zealand. They've changed up the pace. They've done something different to what they did in the first game. They've done their homework, and it's quite evident that South Africa still wanting to take the attack to New Zealand, still wanting to put them under pressure. And the bounce that is so far in this game has been the friend for New Zealand, and South Africa in real trouble now.
Well, they are. 2 wickets. We've had 2 overs gone yet. Rickleton departs for a first ball duck. McConkey is somehow on a hat-trick with 2 relatively blameless balls, you'd have to say. Didn't turn particularly sharply, well, if at all. But the batters on both occasions have just misjudged the bounce, misjudged the pace it was coming onto them, which brings the baby AB to the crease, Deval Brevis. That must be a really irritating David.
She must be under pressure when you have that name. Every time you walk out, everyone's expecting you to bat like AB de Villiers. So, well, I've got to admit, watching him earlier in his career, he looked like he had the potential, but it looked like he was being held back by the expectation of trying to play a certain way. I've read a few interviews recently how he's gone about changing and becoming more authentic to himself, and it's played off really well, and he's done exceptionally well in the last 12 months, and South Africa are going to be hoping that he finds that rhythm against today and puts them in a good position.
He's had a decent enough tournament, batted 6 times, but just under 180 runs. He's averaging in and around 30. An impressive strike record of 151.
Hi bro, RCB bro.
Be careful here, hat-trick ball.
Oh bro, tungidam bro.
Expect the big forward defensive here.
He
takes the edge and it's rolled down towards deep third. He's going to get a fortuitous 4. No slip in place. The New Zealanders, they're not sentimental types. They don't give Colin McConkey a slip on a hat-trick ball. It probably went a bit wider where that fielder would have been had. It's a false shot nonetheless, and South Africa, although they pick up 4 for that, 9 off the over, 16 for 2 after 2.
Yeah, I think he'll be looking back asking the captain why he didn't have a slip. It was for 1 ball, last ball of the over. Brevis just opening the face a little bit, but you have to say he was beaten all ends up there and got an outside edge for 4. So South Africa had a bit of a streaky over there, 2 wickets, but they managed to pick up a 4 at the right time just to put them in a little bit of momentum moving into the next couple of rounds.
That feels a little bit like a massive bonus over to me. I mean, we'll expect to see 4 overs, you'd imagine, from Ferguson and Henry. Henry's going to continue. He starts his 2nd, the 3rd of the innings and nearly gets through Mark. In the end, was able to drive it up to middle. It hit his pads with an almighty appeal. You've got Henry and Ferguson you'd expect to bowl all 4. Santner as well. The way Glenn Phillips and Ratchet and Binger have been bowling, they will mostly be the backup spinners. So an over from McConkey gives him a couple of wickets. Are you going to give him another after that? I mean, he won't have been lined up because no one's faced him. Henry's going to get down the leg side. It's going to be 5 wides. Unless there was anything on it. Don't think there was. That swung after it's left the batter and flown past the despairing Seifert, who had no chance whatsoever. 5 more to the total.
I think the beauty for New Zealand here is that they have so many different options with a spin. So you have 2 right-handers in now. Santner has the option of bringing himself in. Ravindra can bowl, who's the leading wicket-taker in this tournament so far. So they've got a few options to get through. They're going to have to be a bit wary who's going to bowl their death overs as well.
Henry into Mark, gets struck on the pad, going down the leg side. Rolls into the onside. There's no run.
So how he uses the seamers in the power play is going to be important, especially if spin looks like it's effective. So you could probably get another over a spin out the next one and then sort of reassess. You've still got Ferguson. But then you'd probably assume or guess that if the 2 right-handers are in, that gives them more options to bowl 2 left-arm spinners in the middle. So the 2 left-handers that they've got out has played into New Zealand's favour from a tactical point of view.
Here comes Henry.
Country வேற போட்டு வர்றாங்க எல்லா மேட்ச்க்கு வர்றாங்க
it's a single to the left of Santner, who's fielding quite wide at mid-off.
45 people are watching. Please like the stream and subscribe.
Ferguson fairly soon inside the power play. And there are other left-handers to come in this side.
நல்லா பண்ணுவார் அவர் வாய்ஸ்
Marco Janssen's going to be coming in at some point. He's back in the side, having been rested.
நாளைக்கு ஒரு மேட்சா ஓகே 5ஆம் தேதி
down at 8.
8ஆம் தேதி தான் என்ன பண்றது தெரியல. 8ஆம் தேதினா ஃபைனல். கீழே பார்த்து நான் சென்னை கிளம்பணும். சனிக்கிழமை கிளம்பணும்.
And there is no run. I'm struck. There's a photo that they put up of all the players before we start. And kind of like
previous game. Previous அப்பலே வந்துட்டானே. அப்பல இருந்து கொஞ்சம் ரெண்டு இருக்கான். அடிச்சாதான் இன்னைக்கு சவுத் ஆப்பிரிக்கா
dual robbery.
அடிப்பானுங்க.
Massively
நிறைய ஸ்கோர் வரணும்னா
cross between
ஒரு நல்ல ஸ்கோர் போடணும்னா அவன் அடிக்கணும்.
What's his name from I used to play Bradman in
2016 careless graduate. Remember the name history for West Indies that commentary.
Hugo Weaving and ICC chair Jay Sharp. It's an extraordinary gestalt that's coming on there. It's partly the hair as well, David. He's got sports. There we go. He's come up on our screen now.
Yeah, he looks like he's just taken his hat off just before he's had a bat or something, but it doesn't look like, well, usually most
previous dancing
knows do their hair before a photo, but he
looks like he's just
bat
defending his Brevis back to the bowler, and there is no run. 3 gone. 22 for 2. Markham has 3, Brevis has 4. Yeah, it's very much sort of morning hair he's got in that one.
Sound
I've got something remarkable to announce. Simon Mann claims that he was at school with Hugo Weaving. Is Hugo Weaving not Australian? He's not Australian. He played Jardine in that Bodyline miniseries, which he did absolutely brilliantly, and now I know why.
Lucky Ferguson on
he went to a snazzy school with Simon. This is a revelation to me, David.
Do you know what? I'm not even going to pretend I know.
Gary Sweet played Bradman, that's right. And Hugo Weaving played Jardine. Now Lockie Ferguson is in the attack. We're expecting this, David, you'd say?
Come on,
yeah, and they also had the option of bowling the left-arm spinners here as well. So they obviously feel like seam is going to be a part to play, and they want to get Ferguson out the way, and they want to get Markham out as early as they can.
IPL எப்போ slow start so far. Break இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன் கிரிக்கெட்டுக்கு.
That's a Mitchell at mid-on, and there is no Markham has been devastating so far in this tournament. He's up there with the leading run score. His side's out of 5. He's way out at the top. But Markham's got 268 runs. Just for reference, Virat Kohli was the leading run scorer some moons ago. That's been eclipsed by the Pakistani opener. Ferguson is in.
Mark tries to give himself room.
Follows the inside edge of pad, rolls down to short third by Henry Fields, and there's another dot ball. So he's in the conversation here, Mark, with 268, an average of 53. 350s in it. No South Africans go on to make 100. We've had 500s in this year's tournament. Curiously, but 110 and 4 exactly 100. 200 not outs, I think, and 200 on the nails.
Yeah, it's been a high scoring
3.6 score seeing live Geo Hotstar.
Here's Ferguson once more, down the leg side. Dropped by Rachin Ravindra at mid-wicket. Just sort of forward square leg, really. It went crisply to him, but he should have taken that. And that could be a key line. Doesn't cost a run. Just see that again. Oh, it's a lovely height. He's got to be taking that.
Absolutely right, he has. He'd probably take that 9 out of 10 times, and no one means to drop catches, but at this standard, you probably have to expect him to take that. It's just evidence how much bounce there is in this wicket, and Markham's just not able to get his timing yet.
Ferguson into him again, driven through, extra cover for 4. As ever, a drop followed by a 4. It's happened so many times in this tournament, and more times than normal, because I swear I've seen more drop catches in this World Cup than in one for many a year. Some of them atrocious as well.
Commentary plus
Ireland could try to drop 12 in their 4-game campaign, and that one could have gone to hand actually. It went between extra cover and mid-off, but did find the gap. Markram goes to 7, and Ferguson will be fuming. 26 for 2. Ferguson in again. This comes off the inside half of the bat, goes on the onside where it's picked up by Mitchell running round from mid-on.
Okay bro, okay.
So what happened there with Ravindra? I mean, it really was a regulation catch for mid-wicket, isn't it?
Yeah, he almost dived, didn't he? It looked like he was caught in between two minds, whether it was going to be an easy catch or he needed to dive and roll, but he almost almost went too far. It almost hit him on the palm, and yeah, it just looked like he just misjudged the line of the ball there. And I mean, that happens as part of the game. We make mistakes, but you know, at this level in a semi-final, you'd expect him to take a catch like that. And he's a fantastic fielder as well. So yeah, he'd be wanting the world to swallow him up at the moment.
Brevis on strike, the ball bounces sharp. He's guided Brevis down to deep backward point. They take the single, but evidence of what you've been talking about there, 90-mile-per-hour ball, and that has leapt at Brevis. In the end, he's played it pretty well. 4 overs gone, 28-4-2. Now, Simon was showing me some information about Hugo weaving, but he was doing it while the ball was being bowled. He's often like unconducive to really filling you in on what it is that he had in mind. And it's just confirmation that Hugo Wallace Weaving, now 64 years old, was born in colonial Nigeria to English parents and has resided in Australia for the entirety of his acting career. But in between colonial Nigeria and acting in Australia, he was truly blessed enough to spend some of his school life with Simon Mann. Simon would have been, was he a couple of years ahead of you? He's nodding. A couple of years ahead of him. So I don't know. I think it was one of those boarding schools, David. So I dare say Simon was forced to bring Hugo his cups of tea, wash his gowns, and make sure that everything was shipshape, restore fashion, polish his shoes. As Neesham comes into bowl, and his first ball is driven at short extra cover, a parried stop. Single. 29-2. It's hard to imagine, though, isn't it, the young Simon arriving at Hugo Weaving's room with a little plate of warmed muffins.
A cup of tea. Here you go, sir.
Yeah. Go easy on me tonight, won't you? So, Neesham, at the top of his mark, runs into Markham on 8. Markham down the leg side, can't catch up with it as it goes through to Tim Seaford. Neesham with the power play is quite a potentially dangerous move, hugely experienced player, David. And I mean, it's been great can be hit and miss. With 2 overs of the power play to go.
நாளைக்கு பாருங்க, நாளைக்கு தான் மேட்ச். செமிஃபைனல் ஜெயிக்கணும், அப்புறம் தான் ஃபைனல். Obviously worried about trying to get him out of the game. If I was in New Zealand situation here, I'd be trying to take a wicket. You're 1 wicket away from South Africa being all sorts of trouble they haven't been in yet in this tournament.
Neesham in Markram drives into the offside. It's fielded at short extra cover. There is no run. So far the gamble, well, the jury's out. 1 wide 1.
Mighty Australia, mighty England. Bro, ஏற்கனவே நம்ம இங்கிலாந்து கூட செமிஃபைனல்ல ஒரு வாட்டி தோத்துறோம்.
We need to keep an eye on that. Dropped on 3 Markram. You don't want to be dropping a man who's got 268 runs in this tournament, especially when
6 Markram.
Those 2 early wickets really could have cemented
New Zealand's
superiority in this power play, but instead Markram has survived. South Africa 30-2, 10 balls left in the power play. Neesham in with a ring of 5 on the offside. Jogging in, simple approach, down the leg side, clipped away, out over deep mid-wicket, or wide long on for 6. A fine shot from Markram. Neesham tried to follow him, saw him giving himself some room, but in the end it was too full, it was on the pads, and he was able just to whack that away very comfortably for 6.
Fine shot from Markram indeed. It's been the hallmark of his tournament, not trying to overhit it, using the pace of the ball, hitting straight, and it's backed away then, hit that ball straight back over mid-wicket. It's a fantastic shot from him to get his innings really underway, and as we said, we thought this was a bit of a gamble over.
South Africa favorite
surprised if he doesn't try and go again.
New Zealand batting
into him, tries to, but he can really muscle this ball back of the length along the ground.
Bowling death over level
take the run 37
Suryakumar perfect number 3
15 off 13
perfect number 3 ஆடுவான். number 3 வந்து அவுட் ஆயிடுறான் அடிக்கடி. அதனாலே வர மாட்டான்.
Back on the strike. Couple more balls here of this Neesham over, then 1 more in the power play. Could be perhaps Ferguson to bowl that one. Lift himself from the power play with 2 right-handers. We shall wait and see. The cameras are following Rachin Ravindra around as if he's a terrible culprit is always a bit harsh. There's Neesham, narrow-eyed, waddles in, he's driven into the offside for 4, just past the right hand of Point, between Point and cover, all along the ground, over-pitched, but beautifully dispatched. Brevis to 10, and South Africa 41 for 2, now starting to find their mojo.
Yeah, just a classical drive from Brevis. It's not really the shot that you see him play.
No, bro.
Trying to muscle the ball down the ground for 6 or over square leg, but the classical cover drive doesn't go out of the game very often, and Neesham is fuming with himself. I think he wanted a field change and he wanted someone in a different position, but you can't be that angry when you bowl a long half volley at this stage with everyone up in the circle.
Well, he's got it now. He's got a deep point in for exactly that ball, so Brevis drives instead through, extra cover for 4. Fabulous shot, not a great over. We said it was a risk, 17 have come from it. And South Africa, well, it could have been in a much, much worse position, but somehow they managed to make it to 5 overs on 45 for 2. And that over has massively helped. 17 from it. Will Santler be ruining that decision? Thoughts from you, David? And then looking at Simon Mann in an entirely new light, he's going to come and join you.
Yeah, well, from a tactical point of view, you want to be trying to find ways to take wickets in the power play. You want to be putting the opposition under pressure. New Zealand have done that exceptionally well in the first 4 overs of the game. That 5th over was probably a gamble, in my opinion, from Santner, and bringing Neesham in, who's probably not known for his power play bowling. South Africa managed to get a 6 and a couple of 4s without actually taking a risk at all. So New Zealand have to find a way of getting a wicket here. They have to find a way of bringing the control back. A couple of boundaries here. South Africa at probably 55 off the power play in driving seat.
Here's Ferguson going into bottom Markram on off stump, dabbed away into the offside. Single from 6 for 2, started the 6th. Thank you very much, Daniel. A wild imagination. I'll leave it at that. It's amazing how quickly this game can change around. 22 for 2 in the 3rd, but now South Africa's power play
RCB க்கு வந்துறன ப்ளே போல்டர் ஏதோ வரும் CSK க்கு தான் விசில் போடுறோம் அதனால தான் CSK
something like that. Looked at one point as though they really stumbled their way through. RCB is 14 from 8. Ferguson goes in and bowls to him. Straight ball on off stump. Played defensively into the onside by Brevis. Respected, and Ferguson steps across to pick up. And there is no run. 46 for 2. Bonus wickets from a second over the match to 10,
நான் சொன்னல அவங்க கண்ட்ரி மேட்ச் அப்பதான் அவங்க சில பிளேயர்ஸ்லாம் வர்றாங்க.
The man's on the microphone. What do we want? I wonder.
Fab plus இருப்பாங்க கமெண்ட்ரியில. South Africa matchலாம் வந்துருவாங்க.
It's a bit harsh on the fielding side. Ferguson goes in, bowls to Brevis, turned away to the onside towards mid-wicket. They can't get a single there. Got 3 in line on the onside, inside the circle. Straight to Ravindra. Yeah, fielding side. I suppose it's an open-ended question. What do we want? But normal reply is supposed to be 6er.
Next batsman Miller is Stubbs.
The coin in the slot as a spectator. I think it would be quite good if actually someone shouted out you to be a bit quiet, but there we go, that's just me. 46 for 2 in the 6th over, and let the game do its own talking. Here's Brevis forcing this away square with wicket on the offside towards point, and there's no run. It's a World Cup semi-final. It's a game that speaks for itself. It's not absolutely full Eden Gardens this evening, but good sized crowd in, I suppose, considering it's a neutral match. South Africa did play a semi-final here in the 50 over World Cup, where they lost to Australia. Quite a tight game, a low-scoring, tight game. Australia
47 5.4 over.
Silence in the crowd in Ahmedabad. They really did shut everyone up that night. Here's Ferguson bowling down the leg side. Brevis tries to flick it away and misses it. And it's called wide. Our umpires tonight are both English.
WPL
duty, no doubt we'll hear from
WPL முடிஞ்சிருச்சு bro. WPL நான் எல்லா மேட்சும் போட்டுருப்பேன். RCB மேட்ச் எல்லா மேட்சும் போட்டுருப்பேன். RCB மும்பை மேட்ச் செமி ஃபைனல்.
England India tomorrow. We'll be on out this time for that match from Mumbai. Here's Ferguson bowling, forced away nicely, square the wicket out towards deep backward point by Brevis. Can he get a single? Oh, good fielding on the
tournament
boundary.
tournament acha yaar bro varuva
Keeps it down to 1. 48 for 2. Coming to the end of the power
play
play.
போட்டா நீங்க மட்டும் தான் வந்துட்டீங்க.
It's been a really good over from Ferguson so far. Apart from that one wide, he's got one ball to close it off. He's coming at a time when New Zealand has just leaked 17 the over before, released a bit of pressure, and he's been right on South Africa. And that's always the challenge of batting first. You don't know how hard you have to go in those first 6. You've lost a couple of wickets.
Ferguson
gets a ball that bounces outside the off stump. He tries to force it away, but he couldn't control it there. And Seifert, I think he might have got one in the mouth as he tried to take that. That's how much it bounced. Ferguson's pulled on the physio. I think he went to try to take it. So it didn't hit him straight in the mouth or nose. I think he might have deflected off his gloves, but just an indication how much that bounced and took everyone by surprise. Wow, really did fly through. Yeah, hit him on the nose. He's got his gloves up high above his head and it deflected down into his nose. 48 for 2 at the end of the power play.
A bizarre ball actually. We've spoken about the bounce in these first 6 overs. New Zealand have used their length really well, but that one has really taken off and it's actually cut Seifert on his nose, so he's done well. Nowadays you can have concussion subs and things. You hope he's going to be okay. They don't have to bring someone in, but that really looks like it's hurt him, and he went down straight away. And yeah, a little bit of a cut, a little bit of blood, but the New Zealanders are tough. They find ways of getting through the pain as they have with their rugby in their past. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine, and looking forward to the rest of the game.
He's stay out there. Key member of this New Zealand side, because all 11 are, but wicket and opener batting as well. A role to play. So 48 for 2 off the power play. David,
hi bro,
good enough power play for South Africa, considering they were 12 for 2.
Considering they lost the toss and put in, yes, you'd be happy with that. The fact that they've got their informed batter in Mark Ramin, who got given a very simple reprieve early on in his innings. But these two are just finding momentum. They've played really good cricket shots. It looks like they're trying to find ways of building momentum. And the challenge will be for them now. They've got 2 left-arm spinners that New Zealand could turn to. So how these 2 right-handers are going to play, that's going to be important. But I feel like the game's a little bit of balance at the moment. It's going to take one of these 2 teams to make the first punch. And I feel South Africa, with the length of their batting lineup, I can't see them sitting in too much longer. So you can expect a few fireworks soon.
We're having a drinks break, as you know, if you've been listening to us. The whole competition, ball by ball, here on
அதுக்கப்புறம் என்ன பண்ணாருன்னு தெரியல. இன்னைக்கு நைட்டு போட்டுருக்காரா அல்லது பார்க்கலாம்.
Breaks 6 and 14 overs. It looks as if first over at the power play, Seifert's okay now. He's got his helmet on. It looks as if Santner is going to bowl. Indeed he is. New Zealand's captain, who is such a canny T20 bowler. Did you enjoy? I mean, you're a left-hander, so you might have
mic கட்டிட்டானுங்க. Mic sound கேக்குதான்னு தெரியல.
I did actually. From memory, I think I had a reasonably good record against him, but I found him an incredibly smart bowler. He has 2 or 3 defensive options.
940 Tamil bro,
slow and wide to me, so it takes it out of my arc, especially if you think you're going to come down the wicket at him, if you're going to try to start sweeping. He's a really tall guy. He's got this really slight delay in his action. And he can find ways of getting it under your swing and right into your hip as well. So he's got a couple of defensive options. So when he was attacking, I found him quite easy to score off. When he was being defensive, it was incredibly tricky because he had 2 or 3 options to go to. But incredibly smart. He does his homework on you as a batter. He uses the dimensions of the ground really well. He uses his change of pace well. I'm quite surprised that he hasn't had more of an impact in this tournament so far, because he's one of the best left-arm spinners going around in the world.
He leaked a few at the end of that England game. Yes, it was an excellent chase from England. Perhaps they weren't playing under as much pressure as New Zealand. It was a bit of a free hit for them, but that partnership between Jackson and Rehan Ahmed, the game just got away from New Zealand. Suddenly they're under pressure in the tournament. Pakistan had won well against Sri Lanka, then Pakistan
Pakistan
but as it was, Right, here's Santner then to bowl to Brevis. Slow left armour to a right-hander. Brevis takes that off stump, cracking away, whip-crack stroke, but straight to cover.
No
run. Santner in this competition has taken 2 wickets so far. His economy rating has been very good, though. We talked about it being a good defence.
ID தான் இங்க
He's got
காமிக்குது. Name
6.35
காமிக்காது.
runs per over, which is the best of any of the New Zealand bowlers.
தூக்கி
Santner
விடுறான்
bowls to Brevis. Brevis
Automatic
gets the ball on middle stump this time, which he guides away into the
இன்னைக்கு விக்கெட்
offside.
விழுந்து நினைக்கிறீங்களா?
Towards cover, and there's no run. So
Power play
Santner
வந்துருச்சு.
2 dot balls. 48 for 2, just out of the power play. New Zealand looking to restrict something.
என்ன பாட்டு தான் bro நம்ம செட் பண்றது.
Later, Brevis has a huge heave at that one.
அந்த அப்படி செட் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்காங்க.
He drives it up towards long on, goes bouncing up there. Doesn't have a field in position. And it's only a single, Brevis to 16. So that'll be 49 for 2, middle of the 7th.
Yeah, both these batters really strong at hitting down the ground, and both will be looking for that option here. Santner, the first 2 balls missed short, that one's slightly fuller.
Tamila.
Santner bowls on leg stump.
யார் ப்ரோ கேக்குறீங்க? ஃபைனல் தமிழா?
Cypher looks to be okay now. Runs from
என்ன
high
சொல்றீங்க?
stump to
ஒண்ணும்
pick up.
புரியலையே.
And they go through for leg down. 50 is up for South Africa. 50 for 2. Well, sometimes you play these matches on these grounds and you think it's going to be like the last one. It's high scoring.
For 2.
Teams getting away. But the pitch is a bit different. I think there's a slight crack on off stump, just down the line of off stump. Here's Santner bowling.
Last ball,
Brevis goes leg
Santner.
side. And Wick cracks that through the offside. You hear the sound off the back there.
Final team,
Gone leg side, Santner followed him out towards Deepcool. That's another single.
ஃபைனல் டீம் இன்னைக்கு நான் சவுத் ஆப்பிரிக்கா வின் பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்கிறேன் ப்ரோ. நாளைக்கு இந்தியா ப்ரோ. சவுத் ஆப்பிரிக்கா vs இந்தியா தான் நினைக்கிறேன் நான். மறுபடியும் மோத போகுது. எனக்கு என்னவோ பிரேவிஸ் பொழப்பான்னு தோணுது ப்ரோ உங்களுக்கு. அதே தான் எனக்கும் தோணுது. இப்போ சொல்லுவேன் சவுத் ஆப்பிரிக்காவோட நியூசிலாந்து வீக் டீம் தான். பேட்டிங்லையும் சரி, பவர் ஹிட்டிங்லையும் சரி, பவுலிங்லையும் சரி.
New Zealand right on top here, but as you were saying earlier about the dimensions of the ground, South Africa with a very long batting lineup. New Zealand probably haven't got the depth bowlers they've had before. They've only got Henry, Ferguson, and might have to use Neesham. So the game is right in the balance here. If South Africa can take this deep, if they can get here, keep batting until the sort of the 10th, 11th over with just these 2 wickets down, they could really put New Zealand under pressure with these small boundaries and the fact that it can be a really high-scoring ground at the end.
Okay, David, thanks very much for now. Stephen Finn is joining me at 52 for 2 and also joining the action.
சச்சின் ரவீந்திரா கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. மேட்ச்ல 3 விக்கெட் எடுத்துட்டான்னு கொடுக்குறாங்க. இன்னைக்கு என்ன பண்றான்னு பார்ப்போம்.
Tortured Sri Lanka last week.
அடி போந்துருவாங்க.
Wickets going wide, they were spinning and they were running down the pitch and getting stumped. So watching Ravindra into the attack with his slow left armers. He's in now and bowls way down the leg side. It's taken by Cypher, it's ignored by Markram. Alex Wolf signals wide.
சச்சின் ரவீந்திரா RCB
3 for 2. So it's still starting the 8th over.
RCB வாங்கிட்டாங்க.
Both batters on the 17, Markram from 17 balls, Brevis from 16 balls. There's Markram on strike, Ravindra bowls to him, on leg stump, tries to turn it away.
எனக்கும் பயமா இருக்கு. திடீர்னு பேய் அந்த மாதிரி ஆடுறானே இல்ல. ஸ்டார்டிங் ஸ்டேஜ்ல ஏதோ எல்லா மேட்ச் தோக்கற மாதிரி ஆடிட்டு இருந்தானே. ஃபைனல் வந்தோனே முரட்டடி அடிக்கிறாங்க.
Start of the 8th over. Relatively quiet, just absorbed by this contest.
அவர் கேகேஆர் தானே. அததான அப்புறம் நானும் சொல்றேன். நீங்க RCB ங்கறீங்க.
Well, very noisy here the other evening for the match in India and West Indies. I almost felt as though the crowd were kind of, what's gone on here? The 4th umpire's coming out with something. Lord Tucker might be the problem with the bails. Almost felt as though they were sucking India over the line the other evening.
RCB சும்மா ஃபயர் போட்டாங்க நம்ம.
Compelling run chase.
ரைட். வேலைய ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டீங்களா?
Bails, there's a problem with the bails. The technology's not working, Finney.
Well, he's got a box of bails, hasn't he? These
You've got to be very resourceful as a 4th umpire or 3rd umpire.
Yeah.
4th umpire.
Like an octopus, have lots of arms, don't you? Bring the odd banana out for the umpires as well. I've seen that. Gone are the days where the umpires would walk over to the fielding team's huddle and ask for a drink or a couple of sweets or something. Very self-sufficient, these umpires now.
Ravindra bowls to Markram. Markram swats his way into the leg side up towards long on. That's probably because you players said, no, you can't have it, get your own.
Well, if you get a couple of decisions, then absolutely you can have some sweets.
Isn't that bribery and corruption?
I'd say just human etiquette.
Yeah, I know what you mean. A bit like when you need to be on the motorway at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon.
Yes. Negotiations.
Vinjo to Brevis, who goes leg side. He's followed by the bowler. And then Brevis is a big wind up. And
Loyalty 18 years. RCB out. Markram out.
It looks as though it's not as
ஆமாங்க
easy to score as we
இல்ல
first
அவனே
anticipated
செக்
when we
பண்ற
saw the
மாதிரி
pitch.
சொல்றான்
Both these players who've had great tournaments are struggling to find the middle of the bat. Suggests a bit more attrition than maybe first thought.
Vinjo now to Markram. Markram heaves this down the ground out towards long on. Is that taken low down? I think it is. It's Daryl Mitchell getting to it. Mitchell's jogging in to say, yeah, oh well. Then he says, oh, let's check the screen. But to me, it looked as though he caught that. I mean, it felt as though he should have done. But once the fielder has got some doubts, then the TV umpire's probably got some doubts as well. That was a strange incident. I thought Mitchell was jogging in with the ball saying, I've caught it. And then he went, oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Have a look at the big screen.
The second you do that, it's not out, I'm saying.
Look, we're seeing it now.
கீழே விழுந்த மாதிரி
I need a side on replay of this, please.
The second you give the umpire the opportunity to believe that there's doubt, I think that ball is in the grass when...
Can you zoom out, please? Zoom out a bit, please.
நானும் CSK fan தான்.
Nick Menno, I said Nick Menno would be in action fairly soon. Here he is.
ஆனா எனக்கு கிரிக்கெட் யார் நல்லா விளையாண்டாலும் பிடிக்கும்.
What do you know?
Keep it going back.
இன்னைக்கு மேட்ச்ல யார் நல்லா விளையாடுறாங்களோ அவங்க எல்லாரும்
I think you might call this.
Keep it rolling. I can see the fingers on me. Yeah, thank you. I'm ready with my decision.
Well, it was a strange one because it seemed to like bounce from one set of fingers to the other, which gives the impression that it might have bounced on the ground. But I wonder whether he got long fingers underneath it. Well, it's been given out. Well, that is an unusual dismissal because Daryl Mitchell dived forward, got his fingers somewhere underneath the ball, and then ran in saying, well, I'm not sure. And as Finney was saying, when that happens normally, the TV umpire goes, oh, well, there must be some doubt there. The fielder wasn't sure, but that was I think that's about the first time I've ever seen that happen, actually, where the fielder's done that and it's been given out.
And
Markram's on his way for 18.
It didn't look as conclusive. It was the sort of one where you could have spent 10 minutes looking at that, changed your mind. But umpire Menon clearly made his mind up early that the fingers were underneath, and as the fingers disappeared into the grass, that they were compressed onto the grass as opposed to slipping from underneath the ball. So, curious because Daryl Mitchell did run in and was signalling to go upstairs to the third umpire and gave the impression that he didn't know. Fortune favouring New Zealand there, and that feels like a big wicket. Markram has had a fantastic tournament. Struggled to find his fluency today. And South Africa, you'd say, in a spot of just over 7 runs and over.
It's so weird with those locations. I think you can see one image you think it's out, another image you think it's touchdown. I think you thought he was going to be given knocked out.
Well, I just think as a fielder, you have to style it out there. If I'm the bowler there, I'm saying you run in. If you're the fielder, you give it the big one, say that you've caught it, and then it helps the TV umpire make his mind up. Whereas if you show any degree of trepidation about whether you've taken the catch or not, you'll open yourself up.
The Windsor balls to Miller now, the left-hander hits the ball out towards long off on the bounce to Mitchell. It's nearly a wicket first ball there, Miller.
Well, I got burned by one where Ben Stokes, who was fielding at gully. So AB de Villiers spliced one to gully and it looped up and Stokes dived forward and it looked good for me as the bowler. It looked good. But it squeezed Stokes' fingers into the ground and he went, I don't know. And I was like, you've caught that. Tell him you've caught it.
Yeah. Vinja to Brevis. That was a loopy ball that was not quite as full as Brevis, I think, initially thought. And then he changed the shot and push it away into the offside. He gets a single. 57 for 3 South Africa after 8 overs. So far, okay, we haven't seen both sides back, but so far New Zealand will be pretty happy with how this game is going. So back to that.
Yeah, so first of all, they're definitely happy with how this is going. Those 3 wickets are vital, putting pressure on the middle order of South Africa, who haven't had to do heaps and heaps of work so far in this World Cup. But Stokes, as his fingers were squeezed, and we were watching it on the big screen, and you're thinking, well, that looks out, that's great, the umpire's going to give it. But because Ben said, I don't know, I'm not sure. It gave the umpire room to be able to say, well, the field is not sure. But I'm going to say that's not out, so robbed of another test wicket. Cheers, Stokes.
You got about 120 odd, didn't you?
125, Simon. It could have been 126.
Yeah. So who was the batter?
இப்போ ஒரு 6 நால ரன் வந்துருச்சு
Did you ever get him out again?
Yeah.
இன்னும் 2 6 அடிச்சானா மேக்கப் ஆயிரும் பால்
Sent the ball to Brevis, goes leg side and he takes it off leg stump and thrashes it over wide long on for 6. Heaved away, takes him to 25 and New Zealand just conceding a third 6 of the innings. 63 for 3, start of the 9th over. Sanger pushing into the pitch and Brevis mercilessly flogging it over long on.
Players' abilities to hit that length for 6 is crazy now. Top of the stumps, it was driven into the surface quick.
Brevis waits for Santner. And Santner bowls on off stump, crunched away through extra cover. A lot of teams have that fielder out at extra cover for that type of shot rather than cover. Much straighter, so it's only a single.
But to set your feet there to a spinner who's just missed his length short by 6 inches or so, to rock back and have the time when it's that quick to
64 for 3.
thrash it up over wide long on is an incredible shot, really.
மார்க்ரம் மில்லர் கொஞ்சம் டைம் எடுத்துக்குவோம் ஃபுல்லாக பார்ப்போம்
Well, that was a good get out of jail ball for a spinner. People just knocked that ball into the onside for 1. Now people can hit it for 6. Your margin for error is so much smaller.
64 for 3.
எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு ப்ரீவியஸ் விக்கெட் எடுத்தாலே ஆறு நியூசிலாந்து உள்ள வந்துருவாங்க.
No wicket, 10 balls over the wicket to Miller outside the off stump, forced away. Dive covers unsuccessful. Goes out for the sweeper. Turning on the bounce. 65 for 3. South Africa's first semi-final. England semi-final tomorrow. Same time, same place, everybody. Well, not same place in terms of venue, but in terms of where you can listen to it.
180 எடுத்தா வின் பண்ணலாம் ப்ரோ. 180 நல்ல ஸ்கோர் தான். என்ன ஒரு விக்கெட் தான் இருக்கு பியூர் பேட்ஸ்மேனுக்கு. இன்னும் ஒரு ஆள் தான் இருக்கான். ஸ்டப்ஸ் மட்டும் தான் இருக்காங்க. மற்றவங்களும் அடிப்பாங்க. இதோட பியூர் பேட்ஸ்மேன் கிடையாது.
Roasting hot afternoon, and it felt as though the innings went on forever and ever as well. I think it probably did. I think about 4 hours from them to bowl their overs. 65 for England put them in as well, of course. Santner bowls very wide of off stump inside the wide line because Brevis has stepped to the leg side, which is going to say no, that's fine. Inside the blue line. Santner saw him go leg side and thought, I'll just push it out there. And over to the ball then.
Well, it was one because he'd stepped outside leg. Your impression as a batter when you step outside leg is, oh, that's miles wide because of the proximity of the ball to it.
Santner bowls on middle and off this time. Just giving himself some room and hammers it out for a deep cover. Phillips is there. So they only take a single. Phillips is a magnificent fielder. Catch the other evening. It's interesting listening to commentary because it's a brilliant catch. As soon as it was out to Phillips, just like, oh, catch that. He just will, because he catches all those. You just expect him to catch it diving forward.
Yeah, it's long off.
Curran, wasn't it? 66 for 3. Last ball of the night. Santner bowls. Miller fiddles it away into a gap on the offside.
யார் ப்ரோ ரியாக்ஷனை போட்டுட்டு இருக்குது நீங்க தானா
67 for 3 South Africa after 9 overs.
They're such a pragmatic team, New Zealand, aren't they? Even there, 6 off the first delivery. Some teams would allow that to transcend into chaos, but they managed to negotiate the rest of the over. 4 singles from 5 balls just gives them a degree of control, and that's why I think they always find their way to this stage of tournaments, is being able to manage those moments, stay calm under pressure. Can they go one further today? This is I don't think it's not deniable that the 4 best teams are in the semi-finals. I think in the tournament, from what we've seen, West Indies could have had a case.
catch a drop.
England got a bit lucky in the group they were in.
Catch
I don't mind it. I think you need that. Very rarely does a team sail through all the way to the end of the tournament.
catch எடுத்துட்டா நேரா நீங்க பாதி மேட்ச் முடிச்சிருப்பீங்க.
Everything. Final. Ravindra bowls wide of off stump. Slices a big drive over extra cover. Oh, he's dropped. He's dropped in the deep. that
That's
Phillips?
your fault.
Is that Phillips who's put that down? Well, I don't believe I've seen that, because that is, for him, well, for most fielders, that's relatively straightforward. He must have come out the floodlights or something. He must have been overconfident. It was an extraordinary drop. It was a slice drive, aerial, over extra cover. Miller must have thought, oh, that's it. Phillips was going away to his left-hand side, got both hands to it, and then made a total mess of it.
He's overrun it. He overran it. So he runs so quick towards the ball that then he's had to try and put the brakes on right at the very last second and jump in the air to try and stop himself, but his momentum's taken him too far.
Here's Ravindra going wide to Miller, who cracks that away out towards deep cover. They got 2 from that ball, 1 from the one out towards deep cover. 73 in the 10th.
Well, he's lucky he's not leaving because that next ball's gone to him. And the crowd, you'd have 15,000 people going, ooh.
6.
I think it hit him on the chest.
Yeah,
I think
he's
he
not
got
got
his
a hand
hands
on
to
it.
it, didn't he?
He's completely overran it.
It's
Too quick.
Too good.
He needs to get out the gym.
It's too good. Got there too quickly.
ஒன்றும் புரியல
73
ஃபைனல்
in the 10th. Brevis on
ஆங்கிள்
27.
எங்க நடக்கும் ப்ரோன்னு
Plays
கேக்குறீங்களா
a one-handed lofted on drive, and that looks as though it's sailing well back into the crowd, and it does.
தெரியல ஃபைனல் நடக்கும் நான் பார்க்கல
6 miles over the road.
It's one of those no-look ones as well, where his head stays down as he hits the ball and just extends his arms through the shot, which then transcends into one arm being through the shot. As his bottom hand comes off the bat, his head stays down, and it goes so far over the boundary, it's inconceivable, the fact that he only had one hand on the bat. Ridiculous, really.
90 metres, 6. So, Martin reprieved on 3 by Ravindra, Miller reprieved on 3 by Phillips. Martin didn't do too much damage.
ப்ரீவியஸ்னா 360 ஷாட் அடிக்கலாம் அதுக்கு ரோஸ்
Through the 10th.
அதுக்கு ரோஸ் முடிஞ்சிட முடியாது
Ravindra ball pushes that on through. It's forced away by Brevis.
ஏபடியே சொல்றீங்களா
By the bowler. Right, he's left
ப்ரீவியஸ் 360லாம் அடிக்கிறது இல்லை ப்ரோ
There's no run. 5 4s and 4 6s so far.
ஏபடி மாறி ஷாட்ஸ் ஆடுறான்
25 4s.
ஆனால் இப்போ கொஞ்சம் கம்மி பண்ணிக்கிட்டான் பின்னாடிலாம் அடிக்கிறது இல்லை
36 runs and boundaries.
எப்பயாவது ஒரு வாட்டி தான் அடிக்கிறான்
There's so many more 4s. Some brilliant. Outside the off stump from Ravindra, crunched away towards deep cover. One more. Franklin throws the ball into the turf on its way to Seifert. One ball left in the 10th over.
விட்டான் பாருங்க மில்லர் கேட்ச் அவுட்டிங்க
77
அவுட் ப்ரோ
in the balance.
இன்னொரு வாட்டி அவுட்
6. Brevis on
என்ன நடக்குது இங்க
34, looking dangerous. If you hit one hand at 6s, that far over the rope.
அவ்வளோதான் இனி இவங்க 2 பேர் கையில் தான் ப்ரோ இருக்கு ப்ரீவியஸ் ஸ்டெப்ஸ் 2 பேருமே தரமான பிளேயர் ஃபைனல்ஸ்ல அடிக்கக்கூடிய பிளேயர் தான்
into Miller, who hits this high down the ground, out towards long off, but he's not got enough of it, and there's no doubt about that Mitchell catch.
South Africa
Safely catching it inside the rope.
செமிஃபைனல் ஃபைனல் வந்தாலே ரெண்டு டீமே ஒரு மாதிரி இது பண்ணுவானுங்க
So that drop didn't make that much difference either for Phillips, who'd be very relieved to see Miller play that lofted drive.
ப்ரீவியஸ் ஸ்டெப்ஸ் 2 பேர் தான் கடைசி
Favourites to win this game are 77 for 4. Miller knew straight away, well you often do as a batter, you haven't quite got enough of it. Sometimes you watch on expectantly, hoping it's just got enough to carry over the rope. 77 for 4 at the halfway stage. Miller out for 6, a wicket for Ravindra. Here's Stephen Finn, and then it will be Daniel Norcross.
Yeah, South Africa just really struggling for their timing here in this innings. I think the preconceived ideas that people may have had about this pitch being an absolute belter doesn't seem to be the case. Or that's what the evidence
postpone பண்ணிட்டாங்க ஏனா அந்த படத்துல இங்கிலீஷ் நிறைய ஆக்டர்ஸ்லாம் நடிச்சிருக்காங்க
New Zealand
படத்துல முக்காசி இடம் இங்கிலீஷ்ல தான் பேசுறாங்க எல்லா கண்ட்ரிலயும்
South Africa in
ரீச்
this
பண்றாங்க
situation
எல்லா கண்ட்ரிலயும் இப்ப வார் நடக்குது இல்ல அதனால
haven't been asked to do this job too many times, come in and negotiate 10
அப்படினா அவங்க
overs
சொல்லிருக்காங்க
whilst trying to work out what a good score is. So tricky times for South Africa.
Yeah, the Markram drop, they would have had him about 20 odd for 3.
துரேந்தர் 2 வருதுல்ல அது பாருங்க இப்போ வருதுன்னு தெரியல 20ஆம் தேதி அனுமன் நினைக்கிறேன்
I found out the other day that Glenn Phillips did a lot of gymnastics.
Well, that just kind of makes sense.
It does, doesn't it? Because you know all those incredible catches you think of, and the one Simon was talking about of Sam Curran. What sort of made it amazing?
New Zealand spin
He does
down,
this
bro.
commando.
ரச்சின் நல்லா போடுறான்
So
bro
the ball never comes out of his hands.
Do you want to round it off
சாண்டர் கூட
Yeah,
அடிவாங்க
kind
ரச்சின்
of,
நல்லா
'cause
போடுறான்
He gets it down and then he rolls over like that, so his elbows never hit the ground. And then exactly, should just stand, do a bit of a bow, do a sort of wide signal.
But he does, so if you watch a child do gymnastics, they're just completely fearless, throwing themselves into things. That's kind of the attitude that he has to fielding. He doesn't care if his elbows are going to be grazed or he's going to get muddy, or he just doesn't care. He just doesn't.
Not connect on Marida.
No, well that one didn't involve much gymnastics. Nisham, whose first over went for 17s, back into the attack. He's going to bowl to Brevis. Big over this, you fancy, in his first board. Pushed back along the ground forcefully, but straight to Nisham, no run.
Well, good captaincy, because your inclination here as a captain is to attack and keep trying to take wickets, but in trying to negotiate the last few overs, Nisham is going to have to bowl again at some stage. So with a new batter there and Brevis under a bit of pressure to not throw his wicket away, it's a good time to bring him back into the attack.
You're seeing it as sort of
It feels that way, doesn't it? It feels that way.
I think so. We had one from McConkey, one from Nisham. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it swings and roundabouts in a way.
South Africa இவ்வளவு மேட்ச் தொக்காம வந்து நியூசிலாந்து வந்து தோக்குறாங்க.
Gone, takes the wicket. It's to Santner. It's genius captaincy. There's no doubt about it. Oh, it's Brevis who's gone for 34. A huge wicket at this stage of the semi-final. South Africa are 77 for 5. Their fans cannot believe it. With two new batters at the crease. I mean, you'd say that's a bonus wicket.
Pressure ball number 150 அடிச்சா கூட pressure ball number.
Larrupped. And he's driven it back, turned in his hand, and he's spooned the easiest of catches to Santner, who had a little bit of ground to make to his left at cover. And well, everything's working for New Zealand. Even when they've got catches, it costs them nothing, and they've got South Africa on the ropes.
Stubbs
soft again from South Africa. No real foot movement towards the ball. His hands are through it before it gets to him, which again suggests that the pitch isn't quite coming on as the South Africans thought it was. But you have to adjust your game in order to negotiate that. The Brevis had faced a lot of balls, the most that anyone has faced in this innings so far. And the situation now is that we're well and truly into the all-rounders. Batter number 7 is in. Jansen, but
Jansen அடிப்பான் ஆனா எல்லா பாலும் சுத்துவான்.
Well, now we're going to discover how good a team they are, because we've seen signs in awful situations. Recover, saw India do it against the United States. And
அவனுக்கு குழப்பமா இருக்கும் அடிச்சு ஆடாமா
the other day they were in a spot.
Jansenல கடைசி 2 ஓவர் வந்தானா நல்லா இருக்கும். அவன் பாட் வந்து சுத்திட்டு போயிடுவான்.
If they'd lost that match, they'd have been in serious trouble.
ஆனா இன்னும் ஆடுவான். டெஸ்ட் மேட்ச்ல பயங்கரமா ஆடுவான்.
Dug them out of a hole. Well, they've not been asked many questions in this World Cup, South Africa. They have made rather serene progress, with the exception of that remarkable game against Afghanistan. And then when they were asked questions late on in the game, they didn't show a lot of composure. Nisham into Jansen, who just tucks a ball around hit right down deep backward square leg. Ravindra Fields as they take the single. He's underway. Stubbs yet to face the ball. You know what I mean?
நியூசிலாந்து பேட்டிங் கொஞ்சம் வீக் ப்ரோ. அதுதான் நான் சொன்னேன். பேட்டிங் வீக் கிடையாது. ஸ்கோர் கம்மியா இருந்தா தட்டியே ஜெயிச்சிருவாங்க. பவர் ஹிட்டிங் கிடையாது.
No one really wanted to win the game.
அந்த டீம்ல யாருமே பவர் ஹிட்டிங் கிடையாது. பால் யூஸ் பண்ணி பால் ஸ்பீட் யூஸ் பண்ணி அடிக்கிற பேர் தான் எல்லாரும். ஒரே ஒரு ஆளு தவிர யாரு கிளிப்ஸ் அப்புறம் இன்னொருத்தன் பின்னாலன் அவங்க 2 பேர் தான் பவர் ஹிட்டிங். அவங்க விக்கெட் எடுத்துட்டு அது மற்ற எல்லாருமே டைமிங் பிளேயர் தான். ரச்சன் ரவீந்திரலாம் டைமிங், மொட்டமாமலாம் ஃபுல் டைமிங் தான். அதனால ஸ்பின்னை இறங்கி ஆடுவான்.
Halfway through the 11th, Jimmy Nisham in to Stubbs and waits back raised and just guides back of a length ball along the ground to the onside of straight up to long.
Off the boundary to field. The score
this is heavenly now for Sam. He can bowl Nisham this over. He might even
I wouldn't be thinking now they're 5 down. But next is Bosch, who can bat Test match 100. But if you get one more wicket here with 8 overs to go, you're laughing if you're New Zealand. It makes that back end so much more manageable. So go for the juggler now, Mitchell Santner.
Nisham in, it's edged away down to a fine deep third. It's going to be cut off despite a small boundary. Chapman moves to his left.
New Zealand வேற ஆளே இல்லையடா.
There is
டோர்னமென்ட்ல நடத்த மாட்டாங்க.
80 for 5. One ball
இருக்கிற
left
ஒரு
in the
30 பேர்
11.
தான். அவங்க தான் எல்லா இதுக்கும் போகிறானுங்க. டெஸ்ட் மேட்ச்சும் அவனுக்கு தான் ஆடுறானுங்க. T20 அவனுக்கு தான் ஆடுறானுங்க.
Two from Ferguson.
ODI அவனுக்கு தான் ஆடுறானுங்க.
Two from Santner. Two from Ravindra with two right-handers in. What do you do here?
Probably go Ravindra or Santner next.
வெஸ்ட் இண்டீஸ் தான் ப்ரோ நம்ம கூட போட்டு விட்டு இந்தியா விட்டாங்க. வெஸ்ட் இண்டீஸ்லாம் உள்ள வர வேண்டிய டீம்ஸ்.
There's no turn, is there?
இன்னைக்கு இந்த ரெண்டு டீம்ல ஏதாவது ஒரு வெஸ்ட் இண்டீஸ் ஆடிச்சுன்னா வெஸ்ட் இண்டீஸ் தான் கன்ஃபார்ம் ஃபைனல் பண்ணுவாங்க.
Forward comes Stubbs, defends the short extra, 3 runs off the over. That is a good comeback from Nisham. His first went for 17. He's picked up a soft wicket in there, but he will not mind that in the least. And South Africa 80 for 5 from 11. You still feel that. I mean, the pitch has been a touch stop.
விக்கெட் கம்மியாக தான் இருக்குது. விக்கெட் தான் இருக்குது.
Jagged, it's not helped the seams particularly, and it's not turned particularly. So we're still looking at 165, 170.
But it just doesn't look as though it's coming onto the bat. That could be something that when you're watching it, you maybe don't see it. Seeing the ball jag around like you would if it was a test match or if there was loads of grass on the pitch. But there is something about really good players not being able to time the ball, especially in white ball cricket. If a really good player is not able to time the ball, then there's something just a little bit off with the pitch that's affecting their timing.
It's a bit of bounce, haven't we, as well? That's
but not
a couple of those.
But it's been quite erratic in the sense that it's not consistent.
No, we got there was the one that got
that cleaned up Seifert in the face. That one flew.
And Rickleton's first ball, actually, they didn't fly it. That was the touch more he was expecting. Ravindra is in the attack, Jansen facing, and he whips the ball from outside off stump down towards long ground, which does the fielding, 81 for 5.
The challenge that South Africa have here as well is the fact that we anticipate the dew being more of a factor in the second innings, so you kind of have to put a bit of dew tax on the score in the first innings to account for the dew in the second innings.
What are you levying that tax at, would you say?
It's probably similar to VAT, maybe around 2020%.
Woof!
No, it's not 20%.
That's a lot.
No,
that'd be 30 runs.
No, I'd say 8%.
8%. Ravindra is forward. Comes Stubbs driving between feet and lets the cover up towards the sweep to take the single. So if we're saying 8%, we're sort of talking about maybe 13, 14 runs like that. So that's why you'd want 170 perhaps, because you think 155.
But 170 is going to be an amazing effort from here. Almost everything has to go South Africa's way to make that. So you have to readjust, and then you add the pressure of a semi-final, which generally means that those slightly lower scores.
Ravindra in, waits for this and dabs it into the offside. But it's stopped at point. There's no run. I mean, it's 8 overs to go. 170's 11 and over, a little bit under. I'll go between 10 and 11 and over.
Starting நல்லா வந்துச்சு வீசு சர்ன்னு அப்படியே இறங்கிடுச்சு.
You've got a lot of wickets to play with.
And given no one's really timed the ball.
Exactly. Jansen, though, can do damage here, but he still drives a full ball up to long.
Video புதுசாக
We see dimensions how small they are here in Eden Gardens. Most of the tournament until very recently in Sri Lanka, where there's really quite sizable grounds. Premadasa's pretty big, Palakkadi's pretty big, the SSC big, and the pitches are very variable. Getting a lot of turn on occasion down a wicket from Stubbs. Ravindra sees him coming, drags it a bit short, pushes it along the ground up to Ferguson for a single.
இங்கே போட்ட ஏஐ மேட்ச்ல 122 தான் அடிச்சிருக்காங்க சவுத் ஆப்பிரிக்கா.
2 tournaments really in India, seeing pretty good pitches on pretty small playing areas, loads of sixes.
122 இங்கே அடிச்சிருவாங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
When England played New Zealand, for example, the pitch was situated on one side of the square. As this is pulled away to, well, man of the 45 had crept to about the 74.
Try shots live.
It went straight to him, Finn Allen, and he's able to stop it. End of a parsimonious over. South Africa 84 for 5. It's what made
shots live வந்துட்டு தான் இருக்கும்.
6 against New Zealand. Incredible. You're there watching it.
மொபைல்ல மட்டும்
the pitch was so far on one side. The side that
மொபைல் ஷாட்ஸ்ல போனீங்கன்னா என்னோடது வந்துட்டு
enormous.
நான் வித் கேமரால வந்துட்டு
It's pretty little hit going down the ground. Looks very short. Either side isn't that much, 65 meters or so.
ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா என்னோட லைவ்ல சென்டர் பார்ட் மட்டும் கட் பண்ணி ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா ஷாட்ஸ் லைவ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம்.
At least dimensionally there, but so far the pitch and the bowling hasn't allowed it.
No, it's been elusive, hasn't it? And Brevis hit a couple. He hit that one-handed one, but timing hasn't been that forthcoming for the South African batters.
84 started 13 over. Samp's going to bowl it back in his crease. Goes Stubbs and drives off the back foot. It's punched away by Chapman at extra cover, who in the punching of the ball sends it back in the direction of Samp with the bowler, and there is no run. Another dot ball. Dotting up here, the rate's now below 7 as Stubbs waits.
நாளைக்கு மேட்ச் பாருங்க
Short cut away from backward point. And they take the single, they're thinking of a second, which is not there.
8 கோர் தான் பார்க்கறாங்க
5 for 5.
ஜியோன் ஸ்டார்
Stubbs on 4.
அடுத்து சாண்டர் வந்துட்டான் சாண்டருக்கு விக்கெட் வரும்னு நினைக்கிறேன்
Santner into his third over. You have to target somebody at some point, but at the moment they're just looking to rebuild. It's for an over or two, or they launch. Santner tosses this one, driven wide and long off. There's a couple of paces to make that Henry to his left. He's situated quite wide at long off. He can only take the single. It's been a while since there's been a boundary.
He's a bit jet lagged, Matt Henry. It's a funny old few days, isn't he?
Well, I imagine
ஸோ கமெண்ட்ரி ஆன் பண்ணி
travelling.
பார்க்குறீங்களா
Unlike
இல்லை
most
ப்ரோ
of us these days.
கமெண்ட்ரி ஆன் பண்ணால் இங்கே மைக்கில்
To the
கேட்குமே
onside out.
காப்பிரைட் வந்துடும்
Mid wicket will just be a single.
சும்மா தான் வீடியோ மட்டும் பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கேன்
Full on layout bed with nice crisp vegetables and salads and, you know, a healthy soft drink.
You saying that's not generally your experience?
That's never been my experience actually. It's never been, except in 1988 when we wheeled my mother into the
மைக் ஆஃப் பண்ணால் இப்போ நான் பேசுகிறது உங்களுக்கு கேட்க
reverse sweep. Spoons off a pad, goes to short by leg, no run. Yeah, we stuck her in a wheelchair and took her up to the baggage thingy. And there used to be a airline called Pan Am. You're a bit too young for them.
8:30க்கு
I feel like
வரேன்
I've heard
கொஞ்சம்
of
நேரம்
I've heard of them. Yeah, well, they
டாக் ஓல்ட் லைஃப்ஸ் பார்த்துட்டு
bad
வரேன்
things have happened.
ஓகே ப்ரோ ஓகே நானும் இந்த இது
That's why
முடிஞ்சோடனே
you've heard of them,
க்ளோஸ்
yeah.
பண்ணிக்குவேன்
Yeah, so Simon's nodding.
Is that
So,
officially
no,
like air crash
சாப்பிட்டுட்டு வந்து
investigation?
Yes.
Yeah, I
அவங்களோட
thought I'd
ஜாயின்
seen it
பண்ணிட்டு
somewhere.
அவங்க மறுபடியும் விளாட்றாங்களா என்னன்னு தெரியல
As Santner is round the wicket. Oh, edged where a slip would have been. Looking to force off the back foot. Gets lucky, does Jansen. Hadn't had a boundary for a while. He's going to get one there. 91 for 5 at the end of the 13th. Just looking to drive off the back foot through the offside, and it's gone through well, exactly where where Stephen Finn would not allow a slip because he's not a sentimentalist like me.
And a slip wouldn't have caught that anyway.
A really good one, like Phillips. Well done. You never know. The man who's dropped one today. 91 for 5. And yes, we got bumped up to first class.
Nice. What was first class though?
Unbelievable. But annoyingly, it was only a 7.5 hour flight. So I availed myself of the most fantastic Phillips steak, the best champagne I've had probably. Well, I was only 19. I hadn't had a lot of champagne by that stage in my life. But it was delicious. And they gave you a little packet full of eau de colognes and toothpaste, especially for brushes, stuff to manicure. So, it's marvellous. It's very attentive.
Well, we can all live in hope that happens to us one day.
I imagine it's been happening to Matt Henry to compensate.
Not BBC's Matt Henry.
Yes. As Ravindra is in and gets played off the back foot down towards long off. And there is one.
Marco Jansen இறங்கி ஒரு 6
yes, not the BBC's Matt Henry.
ஸ்ட்ரைட்டா ஒரு 6 எடுத்துட்டாங்க
As it's been
சச்சின் ரவீந்திராவை
taking the correct normal routes, as we all have.
And he's currently in Mumbai.
He's currently in Mumbai, yes, and he's there for England's semi-final, which is on tomorrow. I'll tell you more in a moment. As Ravindra bowls down, the wicket comes Jansen. He's hit this a long way up in the air, out towards long on, and sailing over the fielder. It bounces into the concourse and disappears into the bowels of the ground. Good use of the feet, lofts it high, picks up South Africa's 6-6, and they move to 98 for 5. Bit of air on that one.
Yeah, it was an over spinner from Ravindra, looking to get a bit more bounce, but Jansen is so rangy that he can come down and be not that close to the pitch of the ball, but he still makes it look as though he is, because his arms are so long. And just lofts it up over the bowler for 6. Lovely shot.
Ravindra under pressure now, but Jansen just tucks the ball into the onside on the front foot, reaching for it. Sends it out to Phillips at deep mid-wicket, 99 for 5. This is Ravindra's last over, 3 balls left in it. After this, They will have to return to pace at some point, but they've got plenty of options with Ferguson and Henry and plenty of overs up their sleeve. They'll find one over between the niche and McCunky. Has that got a bit of inside edge onto pad? For a moment, Seifert was keen enough in thinking that it had. He got up in the air empty on the side. He went after it, but he couldn't dive and take it. And short of a replay, we will never know. We'll have a little look again. Ooh. I don't know. It's one of those ones that might have been, Alex Stewart would have been given out for that in Sri Lanka in 1996.
Leg before.
Leg, probably LBW, yeah. Ravindra wide of the off stump, turning away, and he's gone after it as Stubbs takes the single, just dabs it into the offside, chops it, if you like. It would have been a wide. They're going to run instead off the bat rather than extras, and Ravindra went off to bowl it again. 100 up with that, 100 for 5 with one ball left in the 14th. Now there's Jansen. Go again. He's got one more ball of Ravindra. Ravindra in. He has gone again, but he's only muscled it down the ground where Mitchell waits at long on, as he does for so much of T20 matches for New Zealand. They take the single into the 14th. 101 for 5. It'll be drinks time. With Stubbs on 7, Jansen on 17. A bit of a rebuilding job, this. The loss of those 5 wickets. Oh, it's time for Stephen Finn to take a break. You don't want to hang around during the drinks break.
Well, I just thought it was a great opportunity for David to offer his thoughts on those last 8 overs. That's really interesting and fascinating passage. He played 3 wickets have fallen in those 8 overs. And, yeah, David is a batter. How would he rebuild it?
Well, you heard the question, David. How do you respond?
Well, thank you, Stephen. It's always nice to hear from you and to put me under pressure early in a broadcast. But you're right, this is a tricky period for South Africa. I'd say the one thing that they have in their favour is Stubbs and Jansen play together in the SAT20 for the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. And the ground that they play at down at St George's is generally a back-end innings type of ground. So what I mean by that is you want to take the game deep and probably try and capitalise in the last 5 overs. So these two would be very experienced in how they go about it. Stubbs does like to take it deep, and South Africa have done well in the sense that they haven't been able to lose wickets at this for a couple of overs. So I would say South Africa would want to be putting their foot down in these last bit, but I'd probably expect them to wait another over or so before they really go and see if they can get to 160 where they can really put New Zealand under a bit of pressure and see if that's good enough with the pressure of a semi-final.
When we started this broadcast, we were looking at and having seen what's happened in Kolkata through this tournament,
14 hours,
I don't know for you, but I got the sense that you were thinking 180 plus was going to be what we're looking at here. But the pitch hasn't actually delivered that for the batters, has it?
No, it hasn't looked easy. There's definitely been a bit of bounce, as Stephen mentioned earlier on air. It looks a little bit too paced, which makes it quite tricky for a batter to get the timing and get the pace of his innings going. South Africa look like they're batting with, as Finney said earlier, the due tax or whatever he's put it on there. Like
your prediction,
there's
bro.
some due tax involved, and it looks like they've been trying to play for that. They're trying to play it very attackingly early on, which they have to do, considering that the due does play a factor. But they needed to understand the conditions slightly better, build the innings, earn the right to be put in that position to put down or to pull the trigger, and they just haven't earned that right yet, and they've been under pressure.
An 8%, which I think translates in this tortured metaphor, Darren, to around about 13 runs. Is that to comply with your understanding fiscally?
Well, Finney's the maths man, Stephen. He knows his numbers, so I'll look after him.
Ferguson's back in the attack. His 3rd over, he starts at a very full ball, spearing in towards the leg stump, dug out by Jansen and guided to back. Take the single. What do we make of this move here? Ferguson, he's got 2 overs up his sleeve, as has Matt Henry coming in for the 15th. Is this where you would be going, Darren?
Yeah, New Zealand looking for a wicket. They really need to break this partnership. I mean, South Africa already behind the 8 ball to say, but one more wicket here really puts South Africa under pressure and gets them into that Bosch, Rabada, Mirage and Ngidi. So one more wicket for New Zealand allows them to dictate the game a little bit more.
Ferguson into Stubbs. Stubbs taps a ball off his pads out towards deep square leg, all along the ground. Tries to take the single. Throw comes in over the top of the stumps. Does that mean when we're seeing fielders throwing it in over the top of the stumps at this stage, is that to avoid the dew that may be starting, do we think?
It is, and that would be communicated from the keeper as well. So the keeper captain will probably have a chat and they'd let all the fielders know that the ball is getting wet. And the last thing you want when it's dewy, so everyone talks about the conditions and what have you, but the seam gets wet.
Ferguson into Jansen, who drives square of the wicket. Should be a couple here as two fielders converge. In the end, it's Phillips. They've only taken the single, which is, I suppose, testament to
bowling now.
The twos, I was commentating in Sri Lanka a lot, David, and twos were a feature. We saw an unbelievable number of twos in one game at the Premadatta. England, particularly good at it, looked utterly exhausted by it, but here, not so much in the way of twos, it's singles and boundaries, isn't it?
And especially when you're playing on wickets that aren't as conducive to big hitting, you have to find that extra margin.
Stubbs drives, parried an extra cover, really good work there. Because if that had beaten the right hand of extra cover, it could have run away for four. They just take the single, 4 singles off this Ferguson over. 2 balls left in the 15th, 105 to 5. Oh, it's a no ball! Oh, I do love that sound, but it also comes with just tremendous disappointment for the
starting at 40 பேர் வந்தாங்க
and the whole match can turn here, David.
லேட் ஆரம்பிச்சனாலயா என்ன 7 ஆளுக்கு தான் ஆரம்பிச்சோம்.
It changes the momentum of the South African innings. It gives them a bit of movement into this game. Ferguson obviously brought back to take a wicket. That's criminal for bowlers.
It's so tight as well. Here's the free hit, brilliantly bowled, dug into off stump. Low down, squeezed out by Jansen along the ground up to mid-off. They just take the single. That doesn't mean that it hasn't lost his side yet. It'll be the 7th ball which will determine this. Adil Rashid the other day, when Jofra Archer was not in the ring, bowled a brilliant over after the no ball. But then his 7th ball got hit for 4, and he will carry that around, as bowlers do they not, Howard? Ferguson in again to Stubbs, who works the shortest ball of his hit out towards deep mid-wicket. He will remind Jofra Archer of that for the rest of his natural life, won't he?
Karthix பிடிக்குமான்னு கேக்குறீங்க.
Yeah.
இது என்ன bro ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் இல்ல என்ன
they wallow around in great
Karthix
pools of muddy water, is that what you mean?
பிடிக்குமான்னு
And
கேக்குறீங்க.
they feel sorry for themselves all the time, and they always look like they're grumpy. Stephen Finn, for argument's sake, he was so
bro நீ ஏது
used to get hit for 4.
Karthix ல நிக்க போறீங்களா?
Ferguson's 7th ball, let's see. Oh, now then, goes for a pull, doesn't get an edge of it, through to the keeper, no run. So in the end, that only cost the extra, well, the no ball run. That's it, actually. Only cost the no ball run, 108 for 5, yep. And the other thing is that they wander around in morose packs of their own, don't they? When we were out in the Ashes, it was all just fast bowlers hanging around together, walking slightly arthritically down the corridor, mumbling about how the English batters have let England's bowlers down.
Karthix
and I'm going to return you to Simon Mann, Hugo Weaving's faithful servant.
Yeah, you're right. The bowlers just always hang out together, always going for dinner, they're always sitting in the physio room together, always
high profile
blaming the batters down. It's always a batter's fault. But no, look, this game is on its knife edge here a little bit. South Africa 108 for 5 after 15. They need to find a little bit of momentum, and if they can find it here, they can put New Zealand under pressure, and these two batters can get South Africa to a really good score.
Here is Santner bowling to Stubbs, wider off stump, cracked away towards deep cover, but straight to the sweeper. Is it Stubbs that looks like Hugo Weaving or Alice Tanner?
Not 9.
I think to your imagination, it's wild and fervent. 9 for 5. Start of the 16th over. Stubbs 11, Jansen 20. Santner bowls, and Jansen covers up there and plays defensively back down the pitch. Santner, he looks relatively innocuous. He always does, but he's so skillful, so experienced as well. He's what, 34 now? He's losing. Just creeps in to bowl to Jansen, very wide of stump. Gets that one a bit wide. You can see what he's trying to do, but it was outside the blue line. So Alex Wharf spreads his arms out. One more run to the total, 110 for 5 in the 16th over. Santner bowl, pushing that one through.
I think 150. Score predictor 140 காமிச்சிச்சு. ஒருத்த விக்கெட் போனாலுமே அதுவே கஷ்டம்.
We won the other day.
முக்கியமாக ஸ்டப்ஸ் விக்கெட். This match not looking semi-final, looking like a normal match. அதான் bro.
Teams, unless the pitch is poor, you always look to be around the 100 mark within 13 overs. Santner bowls to Stubbs. Stubbs struck on the pad. The ball goes to short third.
அடுத்த செகண்ட் இன்னிங்ஸ்ல இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா ஆகும்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
4 overs gone, 111 for 5. So they were 101 for 5 in the 14th over. So they were behind that mark that you kind of set as a target. You said, at the time you said, you don't really have targets, but that is one that you have in a T20 match. Santner was very wide off stump. It's me, almost a wide in a first-class match. That he's almost hitting the white line, alone the blue line. Anyway, one more. Second wide of the over. Santner's in his fourth over. 2 balls left. 0-24. Balls on off stump. Dived away by Stubbs. Straight to extra cover.
run out miss பண்ணிட்டாங்க.
12 for 5. Santner's rattling through here. I'll bring you
அதுக்கு 16 ஓவர் முடிஞ்சு bro. 4 ஓவர் தான் இருக்கு.
16th over. So that's behind that 100 after 13 over mark. So does that mean they really are underachieving here, or the pitch is
IPL ஆட போறானுங்க? டேட் coming soon.
Dabs into the offside. They're off a quick single. Shot the stump for the non-strikers. Misses. And it's backed up in the deep, so there's no possibility there. And then coming back for the second run. 113 for 5 after 16. Santner, despite going too wide from over, rattling through. So now you have a chance to respond to that. 13 overs. Observation about today's game.
Yeah, it's sort of a personal number that I quite like to look at when you're batting first, because you never know what a good score is. You can have analysts and the statisticians, and they can give you every single number under the sun about what a good score is. It could be 180, it could be 190, it could be 200, depending on the bowlers, the conditions, the ground size. When you bat first, if you can have that number, you always want to get around that 100 mark by the 13th at the latest. It allows you to, I guess, time the way you want to plan your innings. South Africa have been behind that. They are obviously reassessing here what a good score is. So I would probably say they would be looking at a 160 score here. That's what they would think would be a good score.
Henry, the interview over, balls to Stubbs, it's full, it's on the stumps, it's driven up towards long on. It's only a single. So that's just a personal thing. It wasn't something that was common within T20 teams. That was just your own personal target.
That was my own personal target, yes. It's something that I always was able to tie my innings in the first inning, so I would know if I was a bit far behind or if I needed to get ahead of the game, and when I had to target an over and put my foot down. So it just allowed me to understand where I was in the game, and allowed me to manage my own expectations and the pressure. So often you look up at the scoreboard and the scoreboard pressure gets to you. You just be aware of where you want to be.
Jansen, short ballooning delivery outside the off stump, surely wide. Yeah, one more run for the total, 115.5 after 16.1 South Africa.
And it just allows you to stay in the moment a little bit more. So if I were these two batters here, you get the number that you think, maybe a 150, 160, 170 is what they have in mind. These two batters in the same area, they play together, they play the time in the franchise cricket they play in, so they'll have a number that they want to get.
Henry bowls, and he swings that away into the onside Jansen. He knew straight away where that was going. Into the crowd over Cow Corner. Jansen to 27. South Africa to 121 for 5 in the 17th over. They just knew straight away where that was going.
It was like the no-look Brevis Martin Guptill hit. He had a great swing of the ball. I'm sorry, of the bat, and he's hit that absolute mark, 90 metres. So brilliant shot from Jansen. Is that the momentum that they're going to need for these last couple of overs? We were talking about it earlier about understanding when to take it deep, and these guys look like they're going to put their foot down on the pedal and hopefully have a big over to change it.
And we've also Jansen just checks the drive that time. Goes skimming up towards Mitchell, fielding it long on. He's got 2 catches there. It's on the banks to him. One was I don't know if it was a controversial take or not, but it was a low catch. And Mitchell, I thought he caught it initially, and he ran in saying, I'm not sure. So he checked it and to the umpire. Catch it. Double movement, close to the ground. I think it might have been going from one fingers to the other. It's back sideways, you can scooped it. An unusual one. Anyway, it's given out, and that was Markman, and he's ready for 18. He's got such good form. Stubbs takes that into the onside before. hit that between two fielders out towards wide long on. It was another one. The moment you heard the sound, you knew where it was going. Henry smashed away into the onside. 126 for 5. This is turning into a profitable over. It was a slower ball into the pitch, hoofed away.
Ball
before to Marco Jansen. He's missed full twice. This one he's gone into the wicket, which is a good option. There's a bit of a change up, use his pace, slow ball bouncer. Just say the line was a little bit wide and allowed Tristan Stubbs to free his arms and hit that for 4.
Stubbs on 17, waits for Henry. It's very forward, dug out to the outside towards wide long on, straight deep mid wicket. Mitchell comes round, fields, and in a bit. One more, 27 for 5. So this over has gone for 12, 14 so far. So it's a bit more icing on the cake here. This final ball of the over. 50 partnerships up and 43 balls. So they've got 70-75 at one stage. You've seen teams recover. So the Indians took them down mercilessly. Older partnership at the back end where he was hammering it around. 127 for 5. Last ball, the 17th over. Jansen on 28. Faces up Henry. Henry's winning now. It's full again. Really well bowled. Dug out. Tucked away to the offside for a single. 128 for 5 at the end of the
final 8th March Sunday 5:30 PM. 5:30 PM போறானுங்க. சீக்கிரமே ஆரம்பிக்குதா என்ன?
I feel uneasy with the score at the moment. Stubbs 18, Jansen 29, 3 overs left. South Africa 128 for 5.
South Africa obviously slightly behind here, but they've got 2 set batters, 2 guys that are used to the wicket now. New Zealand have to get James Neesham or Jimmy Neesham into the attack at some point in these next. Be trying to capitalise on. If you could take that from another 17 to 20, South Africa will be backing themselves to get to a 160 plus score here in a semi-final. With the pressure, you'd be backing yourself if you get off to a good start with the ball to be able to defend that.
3 overs to go then. South Africa needing 3 big overs here to settle themselves a little bit. 128 for 5. Neesham's going to bowl. He's bowled 2 overs. 1 for 20.
All over the
rope in the closing stages. Score predictors at 163. Here's Neesham bowling to Jansen. Slower ball. Jansen waits for it, dabs it away into the offside. Out towards deep cover for a single.
Score predictor showing 163.
India just out of the power play on the chase.
Over 6 அடிக்க அது ஏறும் bro. ஒரு விக்கெட் விழுந்தா அப்படியே கீழ இறங்கும்.
Watch the IPR. It's one of those games where they were always going to be in it. And as it proved, they won with a little bit to spare. It seemed a bit odd there. It seemed so far out of it. There's Neesham bowling. Powerful drive down the ground by Stubbs. Straight for 4. That was all about power. Plenty of bottom hand in that. Is it down the ground? Muscled it down the ground. 133 for 5. Yes, Romario Shepherd with Holder the other day. That good West Indies recovery. We've seen New Zealand do it as well. With Santa and
what a 6
6. It is a feature when you back deep.
Right, 160 under
Stubbs. Running in, the ball belted back past him. 133 for 5. 18th over. Neesham bowl short, and well, you heard the sound in our effects microphone. You'll know where that's gone. You don't need me to tell you, but I will, because that's my job. But you know that's gone for 6. It's so perfectly timed into the onside over deep mid wicket, and again he just stood there and watched it disappear. 139 for 5.
Yeah, this is the over that South Africa were waiting for. Neesham having to bowl one more ball before he's missed full.
South Africa
this one he's dragged his legs back, trying to into the wicket, but Stubbs just too good there to muscle that for 6. And South Africa finally getting a bit of momentum into this innings, and setting themselves up brilliantly for our last couple of overs.
I mean, it's the sort of ground actually that if you get it a bit wrong as a bowling side, I mean, you can disappear for 5 sixes in the last few overs. That's very full. That's pretty well bowled by Nisham in the block hole, dug out by Stubbs down the ground for a single. And the boundary square the wicket, not huge.
Okay, இது முடிஞ்சிருச்சு.
So 75 metre 6, and it went well over the road for deep mid wicket. Not on last hit, but it shows you the rest of the boundaries.
4 by Jansen. 144 வந்துருச்சு.
There, 140 for 5. 2.2 overs left. Nisham bowls down the leg side. Might have flicked the pad on the way through. It's going down towards the boundary. Did that flick something on the way through?
It looked like he just flicked his pad. It wasn't the worst ball from Nisham. He's seen, gosh, I forgot his name there, Marco Jansen, sorry, him walking across, and yeah, it looks like he's just managed to get a tickle of his bat. My apologies, I look like pad, but he's definitely got a bottom edge onto that. And I wouldn't say it was the worst ball, but he's moved across and managed to find a way of getting a boundary.
It's a strange one, that.
இன்னும் 2 ஓவர் இருக்கு bro. இன்னும் bro 170 அடிக்கலாம் bro.
Inside edge on it. 144 for 5 runs flowing in this over from Nisham. 14614. 20 runs off the over. 2.1 overs left. That 163 score predictor. I think South Africa will be disappointed if they get only 163 now.
150 வந்துருச்சா?
29. Jansen on 34 waits for Nisham. Nisham goes in and bowls to him. Short ball, popped into the leg side, out towards deep mid wicket, and one of the attempted relay catches was unsuccessful. Phil going over the rope, and I think he was trying to march up, and then throw it back inside. It was quite a long way over, but fumbled the ball, so it's gone away for 6. And Jansen mighty effective with those long levers, helping that away into the sky. Chapman in the end there, he was on the covers by the time he took that. So it was quite hard to sort of leap up in the air because there was all sorts of tarpaulins around by his feet. So he couldn't get off the ground. So 6 more. That was a lost count that over. I think it might have been 26 off the over, wasn't it?
Yeah,
150 for 5.
Wasn't it? 22 off the over.
22 off the over, yeah.
Ferguson bowling, huh?
Yeah, and it was a strange catch attempt there, wasn't it? It's like he gave up. And he'd almost been over the rope before he even tried to scoop that back, which obviously you have to start inside and then jump out, and then be back in before the ball or the catch gets taken. But that was the over South Africa were looking for. 150 for 5.
Slower ball bro.
But these two have done exceptionally well. They waited for that right over and they put themselves in a position to have 2 really good overs.
Ferguson bowls, he's bowled him from round the wicket. Stubbs looking to hammer that through the leg side. And Ferguson's bowled straight and quick. He's missed it, and Stubbs is on his way for 29. It's like a wicket in time for New Zealand, just to end this partnership, bring in a new player. These two striking it well, and mainly Jansen's 40 off 24. But Ferguson getting through, rolling his fingers over it. Flicked the pad on the way through, and it hit middle stump from round the wicket. 150 for 6.
That's a very nice piece of bowling. He's changed the angle, come around the wicket, which statistically in T20 cricket and T10 cricket is the hardest angle to hit 6s from. So Ferguson going into the highest percentage option for himself to restrict boundaries, and he's managed to get a wicket there. Leg cutter, probably the last ball that Stubbs would have expected. He probably thought he would have been going across him and full and try to get out of the hitting zone. So a good bluff from Ferguson there has brought a timely wicket, as you said, for New Zealand. And about South Africa now, about having to find ways to bring themselves back in the game, because they can't take the time that they need to here. They have to keep their foot on the gas, and New Zealand have the opportunity to take back-to-back wickets and really peg South Africa back.
They've got 11 balls left in the innings. Perfect time for a man called Bosch to come in. There are a few players you see active in this competition. I think Hope is quite a good name, isn't it? West Indies captain, Shea Hope.